right. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Nathan Clark with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And today we have a special guest, Dion Hunt from Knoxville, Tennessee, our culture coach here on the Nathan Clark team. And Dion, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Nathan. Thanks for having me on.
You're the first person now that we've done a Zoom call with on Facebook Live and on social media. So we broke through.
Honored.
Yes. Well, it's an awesome time, and hopefully we figure out all the gremlins right now. So I appreciate you coming on, and this is one of my favorite topics because it's so important in there, Dion, of finding what your culture is in a business. And I know you've been working with this for a while. We've known each other for a while, and I know you know a lot of my friends for a while. But let me ask you, so you're a culture coach, and you work with top agents, teams, and businesses around the country. What got you into working with culture and being a culture coach like that?
Well, the first place was I hired a coach myself for my personal life, and it really just changed my life. And so really it started at the family level, and my coach assisted me in a way that helped me build the culture in my family. And then I took those principles and then implemented those into the business sector, and they worked. It was awesome. You know, one of the first real estate teams I worked with, I think it was about 4 years ago, we developed their mission and vision statements, and then we started figuring out how well are you motivating your team? How well are you motivating the people who are carrying the weight of responsibility? And they honestly said it was pretty poor. And so we developed a vision for their team, and 4 years later, they've quadrupled their business. Their number of team members have grown. They're expanding, and that model has been going across, the states, and we're finally into Canada. It's one of the goals we had because it works. I mean, when you build an infrastructure to support the amount of clients you want to serve, it works. So it started. Me personally, somebody serving me coaches that we get to serve different teams, all kinds of different companies, but that's pretty much how I got into it.
So let me ask you, for a lot of people watching right now, Dion, what is culture? Let's kind of start there. Like, what is culture, and maybe why is it important?
Yeah, if you think about the general country and thinking about what's important there, what kind of language do they speak? What are the things that get celebrated and recognized? What are the taboos? What are you don't do that, you don't say that to that leader or else your head's chopped off. I mean, that's culture. What kind of music? What things are important? So when you think about culture, it really comes down to two things. Who are the most important people? And what is the experience that you want for people? Identifying your vision for your team members, that's culture. Because a lot of people start like you and me, you're a business entrepreneur, you want to serve clients, and then you make money and you realize I can only serve so many clients by myself, so I need a team. And as soon as you add the first team member, if you don't have a completely different vision for your team, all you're doing is trying to get them to do what you didn't want to do and make more money. But when you actually have a vision for your team like you do, you have a vision for every team member. So that's why your team's successful, because you're developing a vision not just for your clients. I mean, that's super important. But you actually have a vision for your team, and that determines how motivated people are based on how much support they have, how you incentivize them. And you've done a great job with that, on the Nathan Clark team. And that's why you're attracting quality people. And that's why you're keeping them longer and they're working harder, not because you're some kind of boss dictating and demanding, because you're giving them real incentives to actually want to come work with you. And, but that's how I would define culture, is how well you're relating to people and getting them motivated to work.
I agree 100%. I'd also say that every business has a culture. good or bad, right? You can have every business you can kind of walk into and you can kind of tell what's going on. Are people happy? Are they not happy? As you build a team, I think one of the things that you were touching on is kind of people need to know where they're going, right? It's more than just a job, or especially those are the people that we're looking to hire. We want to have people on the team that are going someplace, want to see it going somewhere, and that their core values align with our core values, right? And that's what we talked about a long time, when we first met. It was kind of aligning those things. I think most businesses, would I be right if I said that have core values and they have some sort of mission, and they all have a culture, whether it's good or bad, there's a culture, right? You can have a toxic culture or you can have a positive culture, right? Obviously, we all want to build positive cultures in our business to go do that. And that's one of the things you have to work on. It's actually pretty difficult. It's not that easy. But once it gets going, once it gets going, you could definitely say it's like cooking with gas.
Yeah.
So, I know I really wanted to kind of introduce you with that, and then I thought we could kind of talk about, kind of how we came around and developed our core values and our culture at a team and why that was so important. Did you have any questions that you thought would be good that people could ask, or maybe I could answer, or you could answer that you had? We get a little bit of a lag there. I'm starting to think it might be my connection.
Yeah, so when you think about your team, you did go through that transition. You were serving. So I think, Nathan, one of the things that you have done is you have served clients at a high level, and you decided you wanted to bring team members on and build quality lives, not just for clients, but your team members. Why is that important to you as a business owner and as the leader? Why was it important to figure out ways how to incentivize, not just milk your team members for as much as you could get out of them for the least amount of money, but why was that important to you to actually reward them?
Well, I thought it comes back to our core values. What I would say to why it was important to reward the people were, one of our mission statements is building quality lives. That's really what our mission statement is all around, is building quality lives. And that doesn't just go inside the office, but it goes into the community, the clients that we touch, the lives we're able to work with and touch as we do things. And it's great when I think you're in sales and it's incentivized, like, let's go help more people, let's go sell more houses, and build, our lives like, most sales organizations are. But when you're somebody working at a company and it's like, all right, so you guys want to sell 1,000 houses this year or whatever the number is, right? That's great. That's a lot more work that I have to do. So that means less time at home or more time, away from the kids or whatever. And how's that making my life better? So that was one of the things that we really looked at. And so as a team, when we grow, everybody grows. So it's not just the salespeople on the team that make a commission, when a house sells, right? There's 3-4 different people on every single account, and everybody makes a piece of that commission when a property comes in and sells. And that was a game changer for our culture because it was a win-win for everybody, not just the salesperson or the owner of the company. Everybody could be like, hey, I work harder and I get more than just my salary, right? I get a piece of the pie every time a house sells. And I thought that was a great incentive, and it's worked out great. We've been doing it for over a year now, and this has been really the first full year, actually, that we've run it. And it's just nice to be able to, you look back and say, wow, we'll announce it once a month. This is how much money we're able to hand out to the entire team, not just the salespeople as a house sold. But it also makes everybody accountable. They have a little ownership in every single client and the business. So that was one of the things that we did to help increase the culture there and get people to help build quality lives,
right,
as are there.
So you're building quality lives, and you're selling hundreds. You're going to be selling thousands of. You're going to be serve thousands of families every year. As the owner of the company, why not just settle? you don't need to work more. You don't need to grow. But what's the motivation? Like, I know you want to build quality lives, but how many lives do you want to build? I mean, how many team members is enough? I mean, why not just be comfortable where you're at and just ride it out? Like, you don't need more money. You don't need more sales. So what's the motivation, and how can you inspire others to keep giving even when you don't have to? Like, why do you do what you do, man?
Yeah, I think the easiest word that I could come down to is growth. Um, at a certain time, it's not about the number. It's not about the income. That's more of kind of just you're charting yourself or of where you're going or the scorecard, um, of where you are. But it's just growth. It's just hey, all right. Once you achieve one thing, it's like hey, all right, let's go on to the next thing, and do that. But someone's always said it's like the top of the mountain is very lonely, and it is if you're there by yourself. But there's something else to be said is when you can bring others up to that top of the mountain with you, and now they can look out and see a totally different horizon than maybe they saw that before. So at the point that we've gone from, I mean, when I first got into real estate, it was just kind of like, I want to make it. And then you make it, and that was kind of about you. And then you're like, well, let me help other people. So now it's about them. So let's bring people on the team and grow the team. And after you get out of the point of just being able to swim and you're successfully swimming, I guess some people say, hey, let's go just retire on a beach somewhere. That sometimes tempts me to do that, but I just don't think I'd be very fulfilled that way. That, is now saying, hey, we can train other people and bring other people up to a different level than maybe they wouldn't have an opportunity to do that before. I know maybe it sounds kind of corny, but that's a big impact when you can see a big impact in someone's life that you can improve their life by doing that. So that's a big reason why we do it. I and my team, we really believe that we have the best system to help buyers and sellers to build a quality life for our team and our clients and the community. So when it's something that big, why stop at just 1,000, right?
Right.
How could we take over New England? How could we take over the world?
Right.
And I think culture and knowing what mission you're on and doing those things, once you find that, then it's like let's not stop. Let's just get bigger and bigger, right?
Yeah.
When you don't have those things, it's very tough when you have problems that come up because you're like, it's not worth getting any bigger. I'm not going to do it.
It can feel that way, but that's where that's what makes someone like you an amazing leader, because you don't have to do this. You've already been to the mountain, and you're saying, you know what? I want to bring other people. I want other people to see this view. And at some point, the ones who you've taken up the mountain, they're going to hopefully bring other people up that you won't even be up there with them. And how are creating and doing right now, you're preparing the way for other people to do it themselves, and you're giving them real opportunity. I mean, think about the team members you have. When they invite their friends to join your team, they're joining the hiking club to go on the mountain and get views that they can't get on their own. You're building not just a quality life at work, but because they're making more money, because they're more satisfied, they're going to be less stressed when they go home.
Mm.
So that means their family dynamic should be a little bit more relaxed. And then they're going to be a better worker when they come, and it just starts multiplying itself. You get this momentum that's almost unstoppable, and you just get to keep raising up new leaders, new pillars who can carry more weight. And I mean, I think it's amazing what you guys are doing.
Yeah, I think that's really important. When it first starts out, we talked about it's like it's just you, right? So it's just you doing everything and run around, and then you start to make a system, a process of other people. And that's really when you kind of look at it like, wow, it's just a number of people. It's like we could bring this to 1 million. We just need more people. And then that's the challenge all by itself right there is quality people. Not even quality people is like I could run an ad and have 200 people here tomorrow, right? For that are looking for a job. But we're looking for people that are a little different, right? is we're not just looking for someone for a job. We're looking for other people that want to help build quality lives too.
Right.
And not just for themselves, but also in the community they live in, the people they work with. Now, those people are a little different defined. People that are career minded, not just job minded, right?
Right.
But it is the people that you bring on, and we could talk about that, right? How many people, Dion, interview? Like when you go to hire someone, what does the average company do to hire someone? You think? How many times do you think they interview?
How many times does somebody have to go through the interview process?
Yeah.
How many steps? I've seen anywhere from 6 to 12 steps, depending on how serious people are. I mean, sometimes it's a difference between firefighter and architect mode.
Right.
If you're barely getting by and you have to have somebody in that seat to answer that phone, you might do one interview. But
Been there.
when things relax, you might realize I should have picked up that phone because we got the wrong person on the team, and they're actually bringing our culture down. It's not wise when you're in your position. It's not wise to function like a firefighter when you're actually needing to be more like an architect. You got to build things out. You got to phase things. If you want quality, you want something that's going to last. You want an infrastructure that's going to hold. I mean, if you're going to build a quality building, a skyscraper, you don't just throw materials together, right? You have to take the proper preparation. And so, 6, 8, 12-step process. It could be anywhere from short 10-minute phone interviews to interviews with multiple people. Again, it depends what mode you're in, and sometimes you literally have to just hire somebody. But I don't think that's the recipe for success. I think you screen people for quality. You take your time. Yeah, you cast the net out, and you find the ones who already have quality characteristics, and then you even make them better.
Yeah, I think that's right. It's a quality characteristics is what you're looking at. Is like, what is this person? What do they want, right? And where do they want to go? And that's what we're looking for. Is a lot of people out there. They have a lot of drive and ambition, right? They just haven't been given the opportunity. And those people, those people are awesome, because you can bring them in. It's kind of like a diamond in the rough, and you're like, wow, we can give you that opportunity, to grow. And to come up from, something that maybe you never thought you'd be able to do. And that's and when you be able to find those diamonds in the roughs, those guys are amazing to really to build a quality life with them because, it's just a great feeling to have right there. So people watching this, looking at where to get started, what do you recommend? Like if you're looking to really look at your culture, I mean, we just talked about hiring, having a good hiring process. I think that's really good is make sure you have good filters or slow to hire, quick to fire, right? If you see a big culture problem with somebody on your team, probably get rid of those people as quick as you can. Slow to hire, meaning have a process to hire the people. But if someone's looking at a company and maybe they have a company or a team that they're running, where should they get started to start working on their culture?
I think it's good to have an inspector. And the reason I say that is if you think about an architect or an engineer, if they want to add on a whole nother piece of property on top of their pre-existing location, they wouldn't just start building. They would hire an architect or an engineer to make sure that they're building what they want. And so sometimes it's good to have outside eyes to look in just to check the pulse. I think it's great to have internal assessments, to ask your people, hey, on a scale from 1 to 10, how good is our culture and why? The number score tells you a little bit. The why tells you a lot of information. You're not promising to change anything. You just want to create awareness so that you understand what the challenges are. A lot of leaders are afraid to ask that question because it might expose something that maybe they're not doing. But when you're a humble leader and you're willing to learn from your team, especially if you have quality people. I'm from Tennessee, right? So Peyton Manning is always going to go down as a legendary quarterback. Do you know that Peyton Manning is the only quarterbacks who've ever who's ever played the game that called his own plays. Mm. Normally, the coach calls in the play. Mm-hmm. And a lot of quarterbacks have a few audibles, but the coach told them what the audibles are. Peyton Manning, so empowering your people to make some decisions and be a part of the process is huge. And if you're afraid, imagine if a coach has a Peyton Manning and they're micromanaging, do this, don't do this, do this, don't do this. You may be missing out on somebody's potential. Now, that doesn't mean everybody's a Peyton Manning. There's been one. You don't just let everybody make any decision they want. But giving people a little bit of space to contribute to the conversation, you might learn something about yourself or the organization that you can't see. Just like yourself, the company has outgrown Nathan Clark. You're still the leader. You're still the one on the bottom holding the whole thing up. Because let's face it, dude, if everybody quits on your team, who has to do everything?
Yeah, it's back to me.
So, yeah, you're at the top, which feels good, but you're actually at the bottom holding this whole thing up. So your job is to say, how do I identify the next layer of leaders who can take the weight off of me so I can keep scaling higher and wider? Because when you grow those leaders, you're going to have to give them some buy-in. Yes, we talked about that. You're also going to have to give them some room to grow because you can't put out every fire. You can't answer every question anymore. So you have to get people who can think for themselves and who can make high-quality decisions. Well, they got to get some experience. You got to give them some chances to mess some things up. And a lot of leaders are afraid to let their middle managers make a mistake. But, I mean, if you're going to be honest, how many mistakes have you and I made? I mean, it's part of the process. But yet, we're afraid to let other people make mistakes as leaders. Yeah. So I think some of it comes down to our philosophy as a leader. How well am I equipping, empowering, and encouraging the next level? And then how am I creating that DNA so that they do the same thing? And that's the mountain I think you're talking about. Mm-hmm. If you can get a culture of support, you guys have, it's a game changer. No one woke up this morning, Nathan, and said, I hope that work sucks today. Right. Nobody wakes up and says that. Everyone genuinely wants to contribute, but when they walk into a toxic culture, they're demotivated. They're not motivated anymore. Everyone wakes up with a sense of hope, and by 12 o'clock, half the companies in America, in fact, 60% of Americans on Gallup poll, not an employee problem, that's a culture and a leadership problem. But leaders sometimes are afraid to be real and say, you know what, I have flaws. I'm a human. But most people won't ever show that side and admit it and get assistance and support. Trust me, as a leader, you carry so much weight. You need people supporting you. And I think that's what makes you a great leader also, because you're coachable. You have all kinds of coaches, not just one or two. You have coaches all over the country that help you on so many. You have coaches that help you with sales. You have coaches that help you with culture. You have coaches that help, everything. And you learn, at the end of the day, you're the general contractor. You're going to build it the way you're going to build it, but you're open to listening and learning, and that's what makes you different.
Yeah, we always need to be humble enough to innovate and be able to hear different ideas. But even listening to you talk now, is reminding me, one of the biggest things I think as a business owner, Dion, that we run into is watching other people do things, and you're like, well, I don't know if I would do it that way. And all right, let me jump in and help them fix it. And if you asked people on my team, I might be guilty of that. But it's having like the control not to jump in and be like, let me watch you do this. And it's kind of like watching your kid, pull a stunt on his bike, and you know how it's going to end. So you're kind of just like, put your helmet on. Let's go. But yeah, it's definitely very important. Is the mission and the culture, and when those things line up and you have the right people on your team, man, it's cooking with gas. And like I said at the beginning of the video, we were talking about everybody has a culture. Everybody has that what's going on. I was at a business yesterday, a friend of mine, and great business. And I was just kind of a fly in the wall watching it, and I could see as the people were working, his people that were working for him, is how things worked. And they probably didn't have it mapped out. I don't know if they did. I didn't ask. It's none of my business. But I could just see everybody was there helping everybody. One guy needed help. He didn't have to say anything. Somebody just came over and helped him. The way everybody talked to each other was respectful. The way the boss talked to the employees was respectful. He gave them their authority to do things. And they were doing things going, wow, that's pretty impressive how they did that. So I think whether you know it or not, everybody has a culture. And we've all been to those businesses or those restaurants or something like that, and you can tell this is a toxic culture right here.
Right.
So when you have a positive culture, I think it attracts a lot of business to you too, that people can see everybody swimming in the right direction there with it. So
yeah. Hey, I got one quick question for you.
I hate to lose.
So normally the normal question would be, what kind of qualities are you looking for? Who should come work with Nathan? But I think the other question, who should stay away from you? Like, if you're this kind of person, don't even apply.
If it's about you, if it needs to be about you, if it needs to be your name in the lights, and I tell that people all the time, it's like, listen, we designed the team. Yeah, it's my name on the team. Just how our system's designed and things are that way, but it's not the ego that makes you want to do that. But if you got too much of an ego, then we're not interested. And so I would say that if it's about you, if it's your ego, and it's a huge problem in real estate. I'm talking about real estate agents. They get such a big ego. Like, man, I'll see these guys not even making any money, and the replies they'll have to our messages and stuff like that is just funny, because they're making like less than $10,000 a year, but the way they're talking, you think they're Donald Trump of real estate agents. So that stops them from wanting to go to the next level, because they know everything, because their ego gets in the way of that. So we definitely are we are not looking for ego-driven agents, because ego what does ego stand for? You ever hear this? Edging God out.
Interesting.
I don't need anything. I know everything, right? So ego is really a big problem in everybody's life. But with the agents, there's just somebody we just can't talk to them. They just know way too much that we could ever teach them anything, and they're happy, selling 2-3 houses a year, 4 houses a year, and bashing everybody else. Even 10, they'll sell 10, 15 houses. And it's just the Donald Trump of real estate all of a sudden. So the guys that we do really well with are humble implementers and can come on and they see the opportunity with a company, and they're like, wow, I can learn a lot here. And it's not about the money, even though they make 30 times more here on average. Actually, we were doing this the other day. It's 300% more income here on average. We're able to take someone from what they're making and make them 300 to 400% more income. But it's not about that with the best agents that we found out there. They come on, they're like, I love what you guys are doing, and I just want to be part of it. Those people, whether it's an agent or a heart of the house, we call it, inside sales agent, any position here, those guys, that's absolutely who we're looking for. They do great on the team. They thrive.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I think part of the analogy I gave earlier, if you're looking for people who are willing to work and put the time and effort in, they got to have a good attitude, they got to give a good effort, and they got to grow in their skill. That's who you're looking for. If they can be humble, hungry, and smart, as Patrick Luciani would say, they're good. I mean, you take somebody that has been overlooked and put them on the Nathan Clark team, I mean, they're going to shine, like you said, like a diamond. So I look forward to seeing your team continuing to grow, and I love your mission. I love the culture you guys have. Congratulations. I mean, for you to go from an agent to a business owner to a team builder, I mean, those are not easy steps, and you're doing it. So, keep doing what you're doing, man.
Well, I appreciate that, Dan. I couldn't have done it without great people like you and mentors and coaches that I have in my life. And, the Lord put us here to do things, and I think that he put me in this spot to help build quality lives and help other people out. So I appreciate you coming on and kind of showing me a better way to do it and a quicker way to do it. And you've seen the results from that right away. So thank you for your help. And I'm glad I got in touch with you and stayed in touch. For the people watching, Dion, if they want to reach out to you, if they want to get some more information about you and how you work and your company, how can they contact you?
Yeah, they can go to our website, improvinglifecenter.com. They can click on the free consultation. You know, anybody that wants to consider hiring us, we're going to do a free consultation. We're going to do a thorough overview. You know, last about an hour. I'll ask a lot of good questions to find out what their vision is, where they're headed, what some of the challenges that they're facing. And, you know, if they like what they hear, we'll do a free follow-up coaching session with business owner because, you know, I believe that you got to show people your value before you ask them for anything. And, you know, that's what we do. We have a 100% ROI guarantee. So there's really no risk for business owners to at least give us a try. And our results speak for themselves. We don't need to pat ourselves on the back. We're serious about serving people well. And we really enjoy it. I mean, I love what I get to do every day and work with teams like yours. And, you know, so anyway, they can go to our website or they can call me directly, 865-446-0353. And I'd love to just have a chat with some folks.
Awesome. Well, Dion Hunt, once again, thank you very much for joining us today. We'll post this video up again. We'll clean up and put a link in there. I'll be able to go from there. But I appreciate your time today. Thank you for meeting with me. I know it was kind of last minute, and we actually threw together a Facebook Zoom meeting on Facebook Live. So this is our first time doing that. So thank you for being part of that also.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
All right, man. Look forward to it. And with that said, everybody, let's go surf big. And Dion, I'll talk to you later, bud.
All right. Sounds good. We'll see you.
See you, man.